Chryso, welcome to a Flames of War battle report, but it's going to be a bit different today. What this report is going to be is basically where you can be moving on from your Hit the Beach starter set. So hopefully a lot of you watching today have got the Hit the Beach starter set, but not sure where to go through next. Like my friend Richard, who has played quite a few games, but has only recently got the Hit the Beach box, he asked me what he should get next, and I wasn't sure, so I suggested maybe the starter sets for the Germans and Americans. You can do 100-point lists based on what you get on that box, but you do need to purchase a little bit more. So we tried doing 2 lists based on both starter sets plus what you got from Hit the Beach. So I'll be using the Germans and Rich will be using the Americans. Just to bear in mind that all of this is just my suggestions. You can go whatever route you like. I know Flames of War tends to getting you down a route of more tank formations, but I prefer mostly for infantry. Infantry a lot of fun, difficult to learn, but it's definitely stubborn and hard to get rid of. So basically the first steps I would say is after you hit the beach, get a starter set and maybe split your hopefully with your friend, and they can get the German starter set or vice versa. So we'll have a little look at the lists, and I'll show you an introduction into the missions and mention where you can find more missions from for free as well. I will do a few how-to little bits in this battle report as well, movement, cross checks, shooting some combat as well, just a little bit at the beginning of the video before we get stuck into the main battle report, and there we go. Okay, so as mentioned, a bit different to what I'd normally take, but showing how you can expand from Hit the Beach with the German starter set. So we have a Beach Grenadier company here. So we have 3 platoons, all full, so that is it's going to be 7 MG42 teams, all with Panzerfausts and a Panzer Shrek as well, and the HQ also has Panzerfausts. Also in the formation we have the 2 Pak 40s. Now basically 2 platoons HQ and the Pak 40s can be found in Hit the Beach, and then this other platoon is from the German starter set. And then into support we have 3 Panzer IVs which are in Hit the Beach, and also you got more Panzer IVs in the starter set, so you could play around with a Panzer IV formation if you wanted to. 2 Tiger 1s from German starter set, and then the rest now are starter set stuff. So we have 3 Nebs, and we also have 2 heavy AA guns. Command cards, so you'll need to get a command card pack for this. So I've taken Lucky, and I've taken 7th Army Assault Battalion. So basically this is plus 2 points onto the infantry platoons in the HQ, and it basically gives them a 4+ motivation, a skill of a 4, and they also have a 3+ assault, so that's not going to be too bad. So as you can see, a little bit of an expansion from Hit the Beach, bringing you up to 100 points. And what I'll do, if I remember at the end of the game, I would say what I would say to improve again onto your lists. Okay, on to Richard's American. So he is taking a veteran M4 Sherman company. I suppose you could always take a regular one, but you'll be going from hit on a 4 to being hit on a 3, but you'll be able to get more tanks. So with his veterans, he has a HQ of 2, which you can find these in the Hit the Beach. And then the unit of 5 and a unit of 4 can be a mixed match of Hit the Beach and the American starter set. He also has 5 Stuarts, which you will find in the American starter set. And in support we have 4 M10s, which again in the starter set with the priests. And then we have a unit of American paratroopers. So it's a full platoon of 7 with a mortar, an LMG, and 2 bazooka teams. So what Richard could have done, he could have taken the armoured rifle platoon from the starter set, but if you look at the stats of these guys, you know, it's pretty much 3s all around, and they're pretty good. And like the armoured rifles, they have an artillery template as well. So at the end, again, I will suggest what you could purchase to continue and not just have more fun, but maybe have more competitive lists. Here's today's mission. You will notice that there's missions in the back of the rule book that you will have in the Hit the Beach starter set. What I would suggest is go to the Flames War website and you'll find a downloadable document, missions matrix, or missions for Flames of War, and basically it'll have loads of expanded missions, and read through it because it'll provide you with a way of selecting missions to play your games based on how you'd like to play the game, via it attack, maneuver, or defend. And I personally like to pick the missions first and then build a list around it, but you can always do one first and have a bit of an extra challenge. So go to Flames War website, have a little look at that, and you'll find loads of missions that are not in the rule book as well. So I suggest you have a little look.
Okay, so here we have today's table. We have a little town that is just starting to feel the ravages of war, with the outskirts here starting to crumble down to artillery or bombing. This part is luckily unscathed, with a few little fields, some forests, a railway line going through the town, some hills over to here, and then we have bocage, so that's going to be tall terrain, so exactly like a forest. Speaking of which, there's some more here next to a ruined factory. With terrain-wise, this is a mixture of foreground. Yes, foreground is the bulk of the terrain, and then I have a few of the battlefield and the box terrain, so the church and the factory. And then the carpets, which are the fields basically. Just grab a doormat, cut it up, and you got some nice cheap scenery there. And there you go. So obviously, hopefully you've got a local gaming club you can go down to, so they have their own terrain. But yes, terrain is very important in this game, as it breaks up line of sight, and it does vary the game. So will benefit me a lot more, this terrain, because the buildings will be more urban for my infantry. My infantry aren't very good, so if Richard could get his paratroopers in close, I'm not really going to be able to stop him. But he has got a lot of guns, a lot of machine guns. The American tanks love machine guns, so he should be able to blast me out of these buildings, and I'm easier to hit as well. And with my reserves or my tanks, it's going to be pivotal for me to bring them on as early as I can. So that is that. So I get to pick which side I want to defend, and I get to place one objective. Richard does the other. So we will come back and see where deployment leaves us. Okay, so we are fully deployed. So me being on the left, I have some minefields. So there's one by here, one there, and then one right over by the bocage by there. So not many gaps for the Americans to get through easily. I have my 88s deployed here. I'll just show you where the objectives are as well. So we have my one I placed here, and this is Richard's one here. So I have a platoon here guarding them with the packs on the hill. Neb's at the back. I have another platoon mixed along these three corner buildings and the bank, with the HQ here, 88 back here. My third platoon is in ambush, and I have the Tigers and the Panzer IVs in immediate deep reserves. And then the Americans, well, I can see where their axis of attack is coming from. It's over here, so everything's here. The only thing that isn't there is the Stuarts, which is literally the only gap they can get through. There is terrain there, so it's the only way really to get through my minefield cover. Rich will be getting first turn because he is the attacker in this mission, so best of luck to you, not too much. And we'll try and remember to do as much of some rules, make a bit of an introductory game to basically moving on from your first games with Hit the Beach. So we have American, turn 1. Okay, so as an introduction, Richard has some minefields he would like to get rid of. So he is going to be sending his infantry, his paratroopers in. So they're going to move 8 inches, and they now do a skill check. So how many are you going to put in for a start? You're going to put 1. You can put as many in as you like. The more, the merrier, really. But obviously, the more chances you have of triggering the minefield. So he is putting his mortar team and 2 rifle teams, unless you want to change your...
Oh yeah, no, mortar team. Which is the mortar team?
Right at the front.
Yeah, the one with the big mortar.
Okay.
That's the trick.
Okay, so it's going to be 3 rifle teams. Move the rest of the platoon up, ready. So it kind of happens all simultaneously. So infantry moving up, and then with minefields it is a skill check, so lucky for the American paratroopers it's a 3, so hopefully no one's going to be setting it off. So, and then the mortar's going to move up with them as well to get a better vantage point, because this is bocage, so it's going to be tall terrain. So 3 skill checks for you then, Richard.
Okay.
Oh, so we have 1 fail, so that means the platoon is pinned.
Yep.
So they need a pin marker within your little bag by there. And now, because they're pinned and one of them took a hit, he has to do a save on a 3+ for infantry, luckily. And unfortunately, an American rifle paratrooper team is gone. So, okay, so any more interesting stuff, we will record it for you. So there we go, that's the paratrooper. Someone's triggered it, and now the whole platoon's hit the deck. Okay, so we have another one here. We're going to be doing some cross checks using the crosshair order, so that'll be +1 better. So normally Sherman's cross terrain on a 3-up, but instead it's going to be a 2-up. So the lead Sherman here will move up into the bocage and need a 2-up to go through. He does, but then he will need an additional one to go through the next set of bocage, which he does, and then that's simple. So what we'll see when I recap the movement if any of the others make it through as well. Okay, so movement is done. This is the most cross checks I think I've ever seen in the turn 1 of a game, but it's bocage, so there you go. So basically 2 of the tanks were able to get as far forward as they could, the rest amongst the middle. One of them did get stuck. And then you have another 5-tank platoon snaking their way down the road. M10s cross one set bocage, the other ones only could get to here. Priests are staying still. This is where the paratroopers ended up, and 2 of the Stuarts got stuck. Stuarts were the only ones who didn't do a cross here, so they're eligible to fire along with the priests. So we do have some shooting. So, and because Richard is going to be firing smoke barrage, he has to fire that first before he fires anything else, and he is using it, and I think he's already put his ranged in marker down. That might be a mistake because it's a curse, putting the ranged in marker first. So he's going to be putting it there, and he'll be getting 4 inches of smoke for every gun firing, so that's going to be 12 inches, but he is going a skill check, but because it doesn't matter what number attempt he ranges in on, he can roll all 3 of them at the same time. And he needs 3 dice, and he needs 3s to range in, because it's a skill check, so we have. Yep, it's done. Doesn't get 3 lots of smoke for that, it just goes off once, so he'll have a nice line of smoke covering his tanks there for my pack. So we'll do that, and then we'll go into some shooting over here. Okay, so the next part of the shooting phase is the Stuarts are going to open up. Richard is going to be using his main guns. He could decide to do some MGs, but the guys further back in the craters, they're going to be out of range for MG, so he's going to have 10 shots, because Americans have stabilizer rule, which means they have their full rate of fire, but it is +1 harder to hit. My guys are hit on 3s. It's going to be 4 for concealment, 5 gone to ground, and 6 for stabilizers. So it's 10 dice. We will have it in the dice tray by here, so we need in 6s.
Yeah!
And we have 2, so clear them away. I'm guessing you're going to want it on a Panzerschreck.
Yep, yes please.
Okay, so I'm going to try and mistaken target that. So nice spin.
Oh, nice spin.
So I do swap it, so I'm just going to have run 2 MG42 teams. So first up I need to do my save on a 3. I fail 1, and then it's going to be a 4-up firepower to kill a team. And he does, he kills a rifle team, so I'll remove them. And then I think that is your turn done.
Yeah.
Okay, so going into my turn 2, normally start with motivation, so your bailed out tanks, your pinned down units. Luckily I have nothing pinned, so that's nice. I then have to roll a dice, right? I don't have to roll a dice for reserves, but I would like to get some reserves in. So this is going to be a 5-up, and I get 1 dice for turn 1. And I do, I get a unit. I think I'll bring my tigers in nice and early, and now I get a choice now whether to bring my ambush in. I'm gonna leave my ambush out for now, because I'd like to see where Richard's going to end up with his stuff. So we're going into my movement for turn 1. Okay, so in the movement step, my Tiger tanks have come on. So when units come in from reserve, when they're coming in, you can't do any movement orders. But now they're on the table, I can do one in the movement phase. So I'm going to be doing a follow me. So it's going to be a 4-inch move, so it's just right up to that gone to ground marker. And it's going to be 1 dice to see if the other guy will come along with him. And it is, yes, on a 5. So he will pop up with him. So they're not quite on the crest yet, but a blitz move will get them there, and that would be nice. So movement wise, I think I'll have a little think and get back to you. Okay, so what I did do, I moved my HQ along to the terrace building on the end here, and here I rolled a skill check for a blitz move. And then what I did, I only needed a 4 because of my assault battalion, they're skill 4. So I moved my Panzerschreck team and my unit leader into the street 4 inches, and then I did a tactical move across to this crater. So I'm in concealment and bulletproof cover. And I moved my unit leader as well, so the Panzerschreck doesn't have +1, it has a negative to hit because he's out of command. And my unit leader can be a Panzerschreck team. So there's 2 anti-tank weapons coming in on these Stuarts. So if I hit, it should be quite devastating. And I've left them within 4 inches, so if all else fails, I might be able to get a cheeky assault in with my guys. So, not much I can shoot at over here. I'm going to see if my 88s have any line of sight, and we'll get back to you in the shooting step. Okay, so the tightest of margins, I can get a tape measure right through this gap, and I can see this Stuart. Only that Stuart though. It's long range concealed, so it's going to be 4s, 5s, 6s, so a lot of 6s needed so far. Only 2 shots I can have, and that's nothing unfortunately. If they were regulars I would have got a hit. So now I'll be firing the Panzerschreck and the Panzerfaust. I'll be firing them different because they have different profiles. So the Panzerfaust has, they both have slow firing, so it's going to be +1 to hit, so I'm going to be hitting the Stuarts on 5s. So let's fire the Panzerschreck first. Panzerschreck misses, Panzerfaust misses. So that's a bit unfortunate, and the Stuarts do have 5 shots each on MG, so I think I might have to call it a day with those 2 guys there. And now, I don't think I can see anything with my Nebs to range in, so that should be my turn 1 done, and now we go into American turn 2. Okay, so smoke goes at the start of Richard's turn 2, and we do have a motivation now. So the American paratroopers need to rally. So it's a 3-up because that's their motivation. They get a 1 unfortunately, but luckily Richard brought his HQ along from the tank, so he does get a reroll, which they rally, so that was a good thing you did that. Okay.
So loudspeakers, just going to go.
Yeah, you shouted at them, or you beeped them. Okay, so that is done. So these guys are rallied, so they will be able to do a mine clearing order now. So if we were just to do this now before the rest of the movement, what happens is the unit leader issues a mine clearing order. That is done, and one of the teams in the minefield gets to remove the minefield. But the problem is the unit leader and the team that did it, they cannot move, so put a dice next to them. But the most important thing is that minefield is no longer there, and everything can move through it freely. So that is mine clearing, and of course the unit leader can't move either, and then everything else gets to move. So we'll see where everything ends up in the movement at the end of movement phase. Okay, American movement is going basically around behind the hill. So 2 tanks from that 4-tank platoon are still stuck in the bocage. The HQ made it over. Actually, they just did a terrain dash around, and then this platoon is going around as well. Priests are moving up to the corner so they can start doing some artillery next turn, and the Stuarts look like they're going to get stuck in to these Grenadiers here, providing they survive whatever's going to be shot at them. Okay, so we'll be going into the shooting phase. Okay, so first thing to fire is going to be the mortar from the paratroopers. So a template is going to be going down, so it is popping there. So as long as it's angled from where the shooting team is, you line it up.
Will you be able to go for the anti-tank?
Yeah, so if you just check the range.
Okay.
Okay, so we checked. If he was to put a template down by here, he will clip this pack as well, and most of these Grenadiers. Now, Richard is ranging on a terrain feature, so it will be a 4+ to range in, because the skill is a 3 and it has +1 to range in. And it gets it first time, so that's nice. So basically, it's going to be re-rolling successful hits, because there's only one team firing. So you're hitting the pack 40 on a 3. So you might as well roll, you could roll 2 dice for this or roll 1, it's up to you. Okay, so that is a hit on the pack 40.
Pinned, that's the important thing.
So that is, most important thing is they are pinned. So I've got a pin marker, and then I'll do the save for him, and then we'll see what happens with the rest of the platoon. So I have a 3-up gun save to make, which I fail, and I'm going to use my lucky card to re-roll that, because I feel I'm going to lose it otherwise. So I pass, and that's my lucky card gone. Okay, rest of shooting now has been completed. So what happened was 2 teams got hit and the Shrek, but luckily I passed them all. Now over here, Richard had 3 of the Stuarts fire their MGs and 2 fire their main guns. 1 main gun got a hit, and then he had, what was it? 7 hits with MGs. I failed in total 3 saves, 1 of them on the cannon, but luckily I shrugged off all the hits. So these guys are pinned, and there is an assault coming in, but I am only going to be hitting these Stuarts on 5s through the defensive fire. So we're going to the assault step. Richard does need to do cross checks to get in to hit me, so hopefully that will be the determining factor. Okay, so 2 have failed, and I need to stop 2 of these tanks, so by either bailing or killing them to stop the assault to force them back. But I'm only hitting on 5s. I'm going to roll them both together because their firepower is the same, and I'm hitting the side armour, and it's not really going to be anything Richard can do with the Stuart. So both of them needing 5s. I get 1. So 1 of them is bailed, and do I kill it? I need a 5, no, so it's just a bailed out Stuart, and they basically go back from where they started from for the bailed one. Okay, so this Stuart is bailed out, so he still has 2 Stuarts in, and he's going to be hitting on 4s for the skill. So we have 1 hit that is going to be on a Panzer Shrek, and 1 hit on a Panzer Faust, so roll them differently. So what one are you going to do first?
On the Shrek.
Okay. Survives, and then on the Faust, survives. So now I need to counterattack. Now I don't think I have anything special for my guys, so my motivation is a 4+ counterattack. So 50-50, I've burnt my lucky card. So will I be able to get stuck in? I do.
Oh dear.
So, right. I'm hitting on a 3 with my Panzerfaust because I'm 7th. I hit, and it's going to be a 6 with the Shrek. No, so it's just 1 hit with the Faust, so that does bail you.
Yep.
So do I kill you? I do kill you.
Oh!
Okay, so the Stuarts have counter-attacked. Now we have 1 guy on the Shrek, so swinging on a 4+ again. And we get another miss. So I'm going to counter-attack again. I don't feel like I'm going to get in this time, so I need a 4+.
No.
Now we'll call it a day, and we'll pull back away, and maybe have another crack next turn. Okay, so I've broken off 6 inches back, just managed to get me into the building here, and Richard's managed to get 2 of them out of the terrain, and 1 of them stuck there, but he's just leaving them like this for now. So that is the end of Richard's turn 2, so now we go into German turn 2. Okay, this turn I do have plenty of motivation, so my Grenadier platoons are rallying on a 4, luckily, and also the guns are rallying on a 4. It's their last stands and they're not very good on the guns. Okay, so I have the platoon that just got assaulted. They failed to rally. The platoon that's been hit by the mortar, they failed to rally. I don't get a reroll. Unit leader's too far away, and then I have a rally rating with the packs, which I fail again. And now I will bring in my ambush this turn, so I will get 2 dice for reserves. No reserves this turn. Okay, movement done. This is where my guys have remained. My ambush is in this house, and the back building by here can fit too many of them in there. And plus my edge of my deployment was here. I managed to do a successful blitz move, my tigers, so they're on the crest of the hill. So that'll be handy for ranging in stuff, not ranging in, for shooting stuff. So we'll go into the shooting step and see if I can pick anything off. My 88s can see something, they can see this bailed out Stuart, so I might be able to pick off another one, and I might be able to get another one with my Panzerschreck in the building, but we'll see if I can do that. Okay, so far my shooting, my 88s is still failing to hit anything. The Shrek is given up. The Pack 40s missed everything, and then the priests split fire, one onto the Shermans, one onto the priests. Did manage to pick off one Sherman, and now my Nebs are going to range in by there. Now, they don't fire a normal artillery template, they fire a salvo, so it's a bit trickier because I need to be 6 inches away from my units, but instead of firing that, I do get to fire this instead, so I can cover the entire American paratrooper platoon there and some M10s, so if I can range in good enough, I might be able to pick some of them off, so wish me luck. So I do need a 4, I might as well show you. So I need a 4 to range in, is skill 3, but +1 for the terrain. So first attempt is a 2, second attempt is a 3, and then final attempt is a 6. So final attempt, so I'm only going to be hitting stuff under the template on 6s. Okay, so the artillery managed to get one rifle team, the paratroops are pinned. I then opened up with this Grenadier team here. I killed another bazooka team, I had a few more hits, but that is it. So that is my shooting done. So before we end my turn, in my assault step, I'm going to be doing a shooting scoot. So it's another movement order, but the Germans can do 2 if they're successful for the first, because that's their stormtrooper move. So I need a 3 up. And they do. So now I go back behind the hill, so I can't be shot back.
Or the M10s.
Okay, so the M10s are the only things that can really threaten me from the front. So that is my turn. So now we go into American turn 3. American motivations, the Stuart remains bailed out, and the American paratroopers have rallied. So now we're going into American movement. Okay, right, so American movement done. The American paratroopers are tactical and ended to follow me because they're going to go into the house. The remnants of 3rd platoon, well, there's still 3 tanks, 2 of them have crested the hill. 2nd platoon tanks are moving across the hedge, and the Stuarts have moved more into the courtyard here. And that is it, so now we go into shooting. Okay then, so the priests ranged in on the hill, took out, oh no, it's the Shermans who took out the pack front, so the pack fronts are probably going to be running away next turn on a 5. These Grenadier were already pinned, so they got pinned again. 3rd platoon has been pinned, and they are going to get assaulted, so I do have some defensive fire shots, but probably not enough. And then the Stuarts hosed down this building here, but they're already pinned, so we have some assaults with infantry, so let's get these moving in, and I'll have my defensive fire shots. Okay, so this is the best my defensive fire normally goes. I managed to get bang on 5 to stop the assault, because you need 5. So the American paratroopers are pinned again, and they lost 1 guy to defensive fire, so that was nice. I did have defensive fire from this building. There are 4 teams here, and I also have another team that conducted defensive fire back here. So we're going into German turn 3. Okay, motivation time. So I have my platoon, that is the ones who try to attack the Stuarts. They do not rally. The platoon by the hill rallies. The 3rd platoon, ambush platoon, does not rally, but they get a reroll. They do not rally. The pack front on the hill rallies. And then the last stand for the pack front. Now he's gone, and then 3 dice for reserves, so I automatically get him in, so the Panzer IVs are coming in, so, but not managing to unpin the stuff I want to unpin, so that's not great. Okay, German movement, the Panzer IVs are pretty much the only unit that have moved, so they've come on, so they can target the guy who's cresting the hill by there. So we're going into German shooting. Okay, turn 3 shooting. My 88s managed to pop another Stuart. Still, this guy eludes me. I put a lot of fire into the paratroopers. I just couldn't kill any, which is unfortunate, but they're still pinned. I managed to take out a Sherman and bail another with my Tigers, who have failed their follow me. And I managed to bail one of the M10s with the Nebs. And that is it. These guys are still yet to fire because I want to keep them gone to ground. So that is my turn done, and now we go into American turn 4. Right, recording motivation to the Americans. So you have a bailed out Stuart, you're getting back in on a 4, gets back in. The M10, you get a reroll in a 2. So our 5 gets back in, and then we have the paratroopers rallying on a 3.
Oh, come on, Curry.
They get a 6. They are loving it. So we are going into American movement. The Sherman on the hill did get back in. More Shermans have joined them. Their unit leaders popped up as well. M10s did a blitz move. The other Shermans did a blitz move to get on the hill. The unit leader did. Paratroopers tried to dig in and got a 2, unfortunately. Stuart's remaining still, and one Sherman got over here, and then the other Sherman is stuck back by here, unfortunately. So we go into American shooting. Okay, so the Americans have popped one of the Tigers. So that's not good, but my last stand's a 2, but I'm saying that, I feel bad. The Panzer IVs have got 1 bailed. I've lost 1 guy to the priest template, and that is it for American shooting. The Pyros didn't fire, they've gone to ground instead. So going into my turn 4, I have a bailed Panzer IV that is getting back in on a 3. He does get back in, and then all my infantry are pinned. So the guys covering my objective do not rally. The guys in the shattered house do not rally but get a reroll. They do rally, and then the guys with the Stuart Hunters finally rally. But I have a last stand on my Tiger, and he passes, thankfully.
Yeah.
Okay, so luckily most of my infantry have unpinned or rallied. So nice. Okay, right. Second platoon is moving to try and get rid of the Stuarts. There are 3 Stuarts left, but I can see most of them with 88s. And I do have a Panzerfaust and a Panzerschreck left, so we'll fingers crossed on that one. Okay. The infantry here have remained still. One of the 3rd platoon has moved forward to go tank hunting, and my Panzer IVs have moved onto the crest of the hill. My HQ has left the cover of his building to go within command reroll range of the Tiger, because my ability to roll 2s is questionable. So even with a reroll, it's going to be difficult. So that's why he's gone there. So we have shooting to do. Okay, shooting step. All the Stuarts are either dead or bailed, so I'll be able to finish them off with the infantry. I managed to take out 3 of the parachute rifle platoons, so they're down to a bazooka, a rifle team, which is the unit leader, and an LMG, because the Nebs managed to take out the remaining mortar. The Tiger managed to kill another Sherman on the hill, so they're last standing. The Panzer IVs whiffed, didn't hit anything. The 88s did a good solid job killing the Stuart, and that is it. So the assault is going to go in, and I'm going to remove these Stuarts, and then I'm going to consolidate 4 inches, and then we're going into American turn 5. Okay, so my infantry have consolidated. Some are in the building, some are in the craters, and my Tiger did pass the shooting scoot this time, and he is still within reroll range of the HQ, so that will work out nicely for me. So we're going finally into American turn 5. Okay, so American motivation, no bailed out tanks, luckily for Richard, but he has the bailed, pinned down American paratroopers rallying on not a 2, but they do, are they within 6 inches of the tank
They
team?
might be.
So,
Is it anyone from
the unit leader has to be, so he's the...
1?
Okay.
I'm assuming. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're in, so getting a reroll.
Come on.
5, so
Yeah,
they
they're
rally.
having a terrible day with Paris.
Yeah, and then the remaining tank from 3rd platoon is last standing on a 4.
4, yeah.
But there's a reroll coming. Yeah, he passes on a 5, so he's okay. So we are good to continue movement. American movement. The American HQ is taking up position on the hill. Everything else is already on the hill, a couple of more tanks joining them. The Paras again have tried to dig in but failed, and again the M10s have done a successful blitz move, and have moved here. The priests, realising the objective of this platoon moving through the town, have pulled back. They tried to do a blitz but failed, and now they've had to do a tactical back by making sure they are not going to get attacked from the side. So that is it. So now we go into American shooting. A few less units to shoot with this turn. No artillery, which is nice. So go ahead. Okay, so I lost 2 Panzer IVs here, so all my tanks are last standing now. Infantry here are still pinned. These guys are pinned, and the crazy guy who went to the street is dead as well. So I still have some stuff left as we go into turn 5 for the Germans. Okay, German movement. I have moved 3 members of this platoon, including the Shrek and the unit leader, and we've had an earthquake, to go for the HQ. My HQ is moving up as well, and I also have a lone guy from 3rd Platoon moving along as well. The Tiger failed a blitz move, so I've done a tactical move around here instead to go for here. And the infantry over here, they moved through the house to the side of the priests. They did follow me, but I failed, so I'll only be able to get the 2 in on the side when I finish my charge. And I've got to dash my 88s to get into a better position, and that is it for my movement. So I'll go into shooting. Hopefully I can finish off the paratroopers, and hopefully deal some damage to the Sherman HQs. Okay, shooting. Tiger missed, but I managed to blow up one of the HQ tanks with a Panzer Faust, so I can get into an assault here with favourable defensive fire. Not being able to pin or kill any of the Paras this turn, so I've got 2 assaults, one onto the HQ tank and one onto the priest. So I'll do the priests first. Okay, embarrassingly, these guys could not assault the priests. I got in, didn't hit anything, and the priest counterattacked, and then I failed my counter and moved away. And over here, I managed to kill the remaining HQ tank. The Americans failed their counter, but the HQ did swap to the remaining tank of this platoon, so I believe... Actually, I'm not sure you can do that. You'll have to take up one of the other tanks because you'd completely replace that platoon. So it'll be one of the 5 platoons. So probably guy at the back would be the best bet. So we are going into American turn 6. Okay, American motivation. The only thing you've got is a last stand on that one tank who's left.
Yep.
You do get a reroll because your HQ still lives, and he is good. American movement. Tanks are staying on the hill. HQ and another tank are moving just to stop anyone assaulting. M10s failed a blitz, so then they remain stationary, and the priests are moving along just to stay away from the marauding infantry over here. So we go into American shooting. Okay, American shooting is very good. I lost my Panzer Faust over here, and my 3rd platoon has been completely wiped out. So I have these guys pinned, and I have another last stand on the Tiger, which I will continue to do until the rest of the game. Okay, so to rally my infantry, my platoon over here, they rally on a 4, and our last stand onto the Tiger, I 2.
Oh, twice.
Twice. Okay, German movement. My HQ is dug in. Tigers remain stationary. My 2nd platoon is in the building. Hopefully I can start threatening the M10s from the rear. And that is it. So now we're going to go into shooting, and maybe this guy might actually start hitting stuff. So we'll see. Okay, my Tiger tank has whiffed the shots again. But my Shrek has managed to bail the remainder tank here, so I can finish him off with an assault. And I didn't hit anything with the M10s. And to mention, these guys did do a dash, so they're slowly getting into a decent position. So, assault, it all depends whether I can kill him straight up, or the Sherman's counterattack. Okay, so this Sherman has survived thanks to a counterattack from this platoon here. They came in and killed the Shrek, and they consolidated back onto the ridge because they are still within 8, so the game will not be over going into American turn 7. Okay, American turn 7, we have some motivation. So we have a bailed out Sherman.
Yep.
Might as well roll, well, you can re-roll it, so you can roll 2 dice if you like. He's back in, and then a last stand. Pass. So he is good, and then we're good to keep on the show going. Okay, American movement. The tanks on the hill are remaining there, and one is whipping round so we can see all the teams here. M10s remaining still, paratroopers remaining still, and priests are going infantry hunting with their MGs. So it's interesting. Okay, so we have American shooting. Okay, American shooting has been brilliant. They've taken 3 teams out from here firing their cannons. One guy fired his MGs and he actually killed him with a 50 cal. So they're last standing. Over here I lost 2 teams total, thanks to Priest and M10s and the Paras shooting in. So my turn 7, a lot of last stands to do over here, and this Tiger needs to turn up. Okay then, so my motivation time. So I have a pin down unit further up by the M10s, and they rally, and then 2 dice for the other guys, they rally, and then last stand. So their last stand, pass. Tigers, I'm still here somehow. So we go into German movement. Okay, so the Tiger tank, again, surprise, didn't hit anything. My Panzerfaust over here, though, did hit an M10, so I'm quite inclined to actually come out and assault it and push them back and just annoy Richard as much as I can for a few turns, but not really much I can do. All my big guns are not doing anything. Okay then, so that assaulting team took out an M10 with no casualties. Richard rolled a 2, so the paratroopers had to break off as well. I tried to shoot and scoot the Tiger down the hill to provide defensive fire for which will probably be an oncoming assault from the Sherman horde up here, and he rolled a 2. His ability to roll 2s is uncanny, but we're going into American turn 8. Okay, American motivations were all great, everything passed, and now the Americans have moved onto the objective. And they're just going to hose me down and move me away. It's not so easy to assault because they'll have to stay there for a turn. The 88s are waiting for, they have been waiting for quite some time for that to happen. Paratroopers have occupied this building and the priests are ready to artillery this house here. So we have American shooting. Okay, so the Tiger's gone. He's still alive, just, so I think I shall be waving the white flag and say we're already beached defenders, we want to surrender now. So yes, to prolong another turn because it will essentially be an assaulting. I've only killed 1 unit, and that's the Stuarts, so it's a stunning victory for Richard, well done. My man of the match will probably be my 2nd platoon up here because they're the only unit to kill a unit. They scared the priests, they took out an M10, and they did a decent job. And I think Richard's going to have the M10s as his man of the match. They killed the Tigers.
2 Tigers.
I think in 1 turn they took out 2 or 3 units out of this house. Mixed role of infantry hunting and tank hunting. And these Tigers were dreadful. I think they killed 2 tanks all game, so they didn't get their points.
It's my presence. My presence affects Tigers because I've never seen it. I've heard so many amazing things and seen lots of videos of them doing amazing things, but whenever I've been in the same room as Tigers, they've been dreadful.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's my presence.
Yeah, and the Panzer IVs didn't do much better. I feel like it sounds like I'm a terrible loser here, but no, it was a great game. I just wish I had a weapon other than an anti-tank weapon, like an infantry anti-tank weapon that wasn't killing tanks. But no, it was a good game, and probably the most difficult table Richard could have played with his tank army. And what I'll do a summary at the end of what Richard recommends for progression into the American 100-point list. Obviously this did very well, it's just light on infantry.
Yeah, I like it. That's the only thing for me. I'd like more infantry because I'm not I'm too lazy a player to be able to get or not accurate enough to just have 1 infantry platoon. I'd want more than 1.
And for the Germans, probably it's difficult because you only have 2 Pak 40s and 2 88s with your starter sets. When you buy a platoon box of either, you're going to get 4. So you're either going to have to try and find a friend who's also bought the beach box, who's probably starting out, and maybe buy a box each and split them, because then you'll have 4 each, which is good, because I would normally field the packs in 3s or 4s. You wouldn't be last standing so quickly. Tigers.
And the nebs are overkill as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the nebs are good for the size of the template, but again, it's like they're very big. I think normally me as a Germans, I go for armoured Panzer Grenadiers, but starting out, that's a lot of models to buy, because there's a lot of half tracks to buy. Stummels are very good to get. So from progressing from Germans, you do have 1 unit of armoured Panzer Grenadiers. Using beach defenders is good for points cost, but being hit on 3s really kills you towards the end. You could try fielding a Panzer IV company, but you'll find the Allies do have good stuff to get rid of your tanks. You can see the Tigers really struggled against the M10s, and Richard could have brought more AT-12 to the list. But yes, and this was in my favour. It's just luckily he managed to get around, and my anti-tank was dreadful. But I won't go on about too much about that. But yeah, that's what I would probably recommend, again, for the Americans, maybe an armoured mortar platoon to go with the Shermans, because more artillery. And then with the infantry, you could either field the armoured rifles and the paras as a support unit. Again, you're looking down more cost to expand on both of them, because the armoured rifles you'll have to buy. Want another platoon, a HQ, and armoured mortars for survivability, and then the paras. Although it'll be easier buying a company and maybe look at jeeps and mortars again, but it's just the cost of the unit is a problem then, because then you'll be looking at having an infantry company with tank support, which is quite fun to play, but with Americans you'll want to have a bit more than 2 platoons, I would say. So yeah, that's my opinion on them. Everyone else has their own. I'm still more of a noob. I haven't played at the tournaments, but this is, if you're starting off, I would recommend that. Try to keep the cost down for your initial purchases, and with the Germans, you really look to have a friend to split boxes with. But yeah. So hopefully you found that informative. I know we already had the introductory rules towards the beginning of the video, but it was very much rinse and repeat through it, and you don't want to see it, and the assaults can get quite messy, and I don't want to give you wrong ideas, but I feel by watching this you might have a bit more of an idea on how to play. So good luck in all your purchases, and you're moving on from Hit the Beach. So until then, everyone stay safe, and if you liked the video and want some more, please subscribe.